From Jell-O cookbooks that you might find in your grandmother's cupboard to Mennonite recipes from the mid-20th century to the oldest cookbook, which was published right here in Kingston back in 1831. Some really rare and interesting recipes and cookbooks will soon be on display for everyone to see at Queen's University. And here to tell us this morning a little bit more about Taste of the Library, I'd like to welcome Ashley, Caitlin, and Song Yang to the show. You have been involved in putting this exhibit together. Ashley, perhaps we'll start with you. How did this all come to be?
Well, one day we were in our seminar class and Professor Maynard brought it up to us and he's like, how would you guys like to work with some cookbooks? And we were all a little perplexed. We didn't know that there was that many cookbooks in circulation that we could be working with. So it was really, he was the mastermind behind the whole project. And yeah, it was his idea. So, and Caitlin, really this provides a lot of insight into what history was like, what society was like back in the day, right? I know for myself, when I look through the old cookbooks that my mom has, my grandparents had, you look at the old recipes, what they involved, perhaps like the lard or the amount of butter that needed to be used. Yeah. It really provides an insight into the times.
It does, and even more so, it's more than just recipes. You're looking at somebody's life. Mm-hmm. There are notes that people write in it that live in that they're in the kitchen, they're writing this, and they're writing notes. Or you'll see like certain identities, because my case is nationalism, so we are looking at the identity of a bicultural, bilingual society, which is showcased in all these cookbooks. You find gender and business and how people ran businesses, and it's just fabulous. It's absolutely amazing.
Oh, it's so neat. And I mean, I think a lot of people joke about those Jell-O recipes or the molds that we remember from maybe the 60s and the 70s, which it seems to be making a bit of a comeback. And sometimes that's because of nostalgia, right? You want to look back and try these things that were so popular in the past. Can you speak to that, Song Yang?
Yeah, totally. So before we actually started, there was an essay about like this lady, after a century trying all those kind of recipes in a cookbook called the Berlin Cookbook, and we read that in preparation for our exhibition, and we found like how amazing it is. And then later on, because my case is my group's case is Kingston, so we actually got to know much more about Kingston beyond the Queen's community. We reached out to like food bank and also enact as in other colleges, and also and the penitentiaries. We got to know so many different places in the Kingston community, and while trying to like replicate all these kind of recipes.
Well, we're just taking a look at some of the examples that you'll be able to see on display, and Caitlin, you spoke to this, like this is one for green tomato sauce, and look at that, it's handwritten. There's the home cookbook with a section on housekeeping. You know, these are examples of what was so important in order to run a home back in the day, right?
Yeah, for sure, definitely. There's a lot of stuff that we can glean from these recipes. Like there's some, like this one, the economical cake. It works with an old cake and making it into a new cake. So you take a spoiled one, you make it into a new one. So it's really showing how women specifically dealt with low incomes and how they used really all that they had to provide for their family.
Really working with a budget and making what they had on hand last and stretch.
Yeah.
Song Yang, you were talking about the Kingston connection. Were there any recipes that you found interesting that were specific to this region?
Yeah, there were a couple of different groups that we studied, like students in Queen's University and also like inmates in the former women's prison. So we found there were a lot of really particular recipes in the student culture. So like morning coffee served with aspirin and after hot bath, and also microwave cheesecake. So
a microwave cheesecake.
Yeah, so it really showcases that kind of student culture, maybe not that healthy, but still embraced by not only Queen's community but the Kingston city as a whole.
Well, Caitlin, of course, this exhibit opens this afternoon at Douglas Library on the Queens campus. What do you hope people take away from this?
I hope they look at a cookbook, even if they're just browsing in the bookstore, and realize that it's more than just the recipes in it. There's somebody behind that put that together for a specific reason, and hopefully they can understand there are many reasons that these cookbooks are put together and find like hidden messages and stuff like that.
Very insightful exhibit. This must have been a lot of fun to work on.
It was, yeah.
Oh yeah, it was so much fun.
Yeah.
We definitely thought it was going to be a lot more work put into it, but we actually had a lot of fun doing it, so it wasn't much work. It seemed like we were just doing it for fun, and it really shows us like what you can do with history. So
Did you try any of the recipes?
I'm gonna try that economical cake one. So
Yeah.
soon enough.
Sure, it's delicious. Thank you so much for your time.
Oh,
Best of
thank
luck with
you.
the exhibit.
Thank
Of
you.
course,
Thank
it
you.
takes place at the Douglas Library. The exhibit opens at 3 p.m. We're back after this.